That more in the TV show later, guys. Before we move on to some Emmanuel Clase comments, I gotta ask you guys, what do you get when you have a bald eagle standing on top of a silverback gorilla riding a T-Rex? Confidence, pure confidence. If you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rajit Golong. That's exactly where Rajit Golong comes in. This isn't just another ED pill, it's a total game changer for confidence. Golong combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula so you can get hard and go the distance. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to RUGIET.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use your code so they know we sent you.
Very good.
Do we have a clip of this Emmanuel Clase?
No, I think
No, but I do have the quote graphic. It's a very short quote.
I don't know that it exists anywhere. I haven't seen it in sound form. I've just read the quote.
So give us the background, Anthony. Who was interviewing him?
I did not see who the interview was with. Mike sent this to me last night. Let me pull up the tweet real fast, and I can give you guys the quote. He simply said that he told me he doesn't bet. He's just waiting around right now for the MLB to make a decision. He's practicing in the Dominican Republic right now. And I will go find the tweet that Mike sent me last night and get you who's interviewing.
I laughed hysterically when I read this. That's akin to a parent telling a teacher who accused his son of cheating on a test, I asked Billy, and he said he doesn't cheat. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, then he gets the 100%.
Yeah.
Even though when I asked him what the questions were after the test, he couldn't remember.
I'm so glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, so Billy doesn't cheat.
Okay, Billy.
I had some Cleveland baseball fans texting me going, hey, this is good news.
No.
I swear to God.
But it is news.
And it's news it's because we haven't heard anything. But I'm like, this is nothing. What do we expect his agent to say? And it's not like, here's what I would have maybe got excited about.
Yeah.
I've had in-depth conversations with Emmanuel, and he wholeheartedly denies ever intentionally throwing a ball. He admits and agrees that some of the evidence doesn't look great, but he has never placed a bet. He has never thrown a pitch intentionally to win a bet. Nor has anyone in his circle. Now I would look at that and say, that's a full-throated, he didn't do it.
And he expects to be vindicated.
And he expects to be vindicated. And we will fight this to the full.
Right.
But you know what he said? Yeah, I talked with Emmanuel. He said he doesn't bet.
and while we understand the investigation is still ongoing, we will exhaust every opportunity to have our day in court so these facts are displayed.
We
and
can't
shown
wait until
to
the facts
public.
come to light. Like, it was none of that. Like, literally, if I'm Emmanuel, I'm calling him up going, yo, that's the best you can do? Emmanuel said he doesn't bet? Like, there is a world where Emmanuel is guilty, but he didn't ever place a bet.
Right.
That, to my knowledge, and this is all a guess because baseball has not been transparent on this, and I've been critical of baseball for that.
Absolutely.
But to the best of my knowledge, the allegations swirling around him aren't that he placed bets on his intentional balls.
Right.
It's...
Why'd you emphasize it like that, Jay?
Because as I was saying it, I'm like, major pause.
This is crazy.
The allegation is not that he placed bet on these pitches. It's that he might have been in collusion with someone who did.
That's right.
And that was never denied.
No.
That was never. So, I mean, like, I look at all of this, and I'm only going on what Jason told me because I've been very critical of Major League Baseball's handling of this. If this were the Yankees, would they take Aaron Judge off the team while they investigate it for the whole year? I don't think they would.
Yeah, I think they would.
Shohei Ohtani was involved in a little bit of
What I don't understand is that was cleared up quickly.
Well, he's a superstar in the number 2 market.
What happened here?
Exactly.
So my thing is this is crazy.
It's 5 months.
This is what. It's starting to make me feel a little concerned because I need a fair type of hearing or something here. Like, if you're going to sit people out and suspend them and then let this thing linger for so long, don't you have a responsibility to at least present and give them a speedy outcome? If you got all this evidence and he ain't allowed pitching here, he ain't allowed pitching there.
Yeah.
If you got all of this evidence, it should be cut and dry, right?
And you're right, and here's why. Let me give you the other side of that. If you don't have smoking guns everywhere,
Right.
then you tell him you're going to be able to continue to pitch during this investigation.
Right.
Whenever anybody is being investigated and they're pulled from their job during the course
Leave
of
of
the
absence?
investigation, it usually tells me they got it on them.
Yeah.
Right.
They just have to tie up the loose
Right.
ends.
Yep.
And if that's the case, why is it taking so long?
And Bull's point,
Yeah.
which on the Ohtani thing was, this fire was a forest fire blaze and was put out in a minute.
Seconds.
And it involved the single greatest player that's ever played the game. Ever.
Well, they got a little different code of conduct.
They must.
The government over there told them, hey,
listen, I get what
you
you're
know what
saying.
you're going to do.
I personally don't believe MLB would have handled this differently with a different player. There's got to be a reason for this.
Isn't Ohtani kind of a test case?
I mean,
Ohtani said, I didn't do it.
And
And,
well-
they said, okay, you didn't.
Well, but I guess they had proof. I don't know. I don't know why the two were handled differently.
okay,
I don't
if you have
understand
proof,
why.
let us see it.
I agree with
Be
you.
at least more transparent. Say, during the course of our investigation,
Yeah.
we came across evidence that is very incriminating against Emmanuel Clase. Not enough to completely drop the hammer on him yet, but certainly enough to continue the investigation. Was Emmanuel Clase a risk of throwing games or pitches if he stayed on the Guardians roster? I say no.
he's not going to throw more pitches.
I mean, at that point, if you get caught doing something as a kid and your parent says, well, we're going to look into this,
Yeah.
are you going to do it the next day
Probably
too?
not.
No.
unless
You're terrified. You're like, hell
Right,
with that.
unless you're Nate Newton.
But,
Well, maybe.
But going
Yeah,
forward,
Nate Newton.
however it
Oh my
got
God.
to this point, like free agency starts next week.
Yes.
We need the team is owed, I think, at this point a resolution.
Do we need a closer?
Right.
Do we need another arm in the bullpen? Do we
Yeah.
need another starting pitcher? I don't know.
I mean, what did you have that made you so confident that he got to sit down today?
And you, whatever it is, they haven't shared any of it with us.
No,
and
if
the
he-
only thing we know about this really comes from the internet sleuths that said, man,
Right.
I went back and looked, and this is what I found. None of
Yeah.
that came from baseball.
Ultimately, if he is banned, if they are banned for life, then we can't complain about what happened last
So-
year. But if they're vindicated, they're open for huge
Listen,
criticism.
if it comes out that
they
we
weren't
found enough and we're going to suspend him for 90 games and it's already been served, okay?
yeah.
I'm going to be furious.
Yeah, that's all.
I'm going to be furious.
yeah, that-
and Cleveland fans have every right to be furious.
Absolutely.
We've had this conversation the last couple of weeks, and it's a fun one. Would the Guardians have been able to make a deep playoff
Right.
run if they had the 7, 8, 9 hitters of the Jays the other night,
Yeah.
and Shane Bieber and
Clase.
Bo Naylor, or Josh Naylor?
Yeah.
We'll throw in Clase.
Yeah.
You know what? All of a sudden, you're looking at a team
you're
that
looking at-
looks a lot like the Toronto Blue Jays to me.
I don't know about the 7. First of all, one
I
of
don't-
those 7, 8, 9 hitters has been gone for a couple of years. Ernie Clement.
Yeah, Clement's been gone 2 years.
Yeah, okay, but
we had him.
none of us were talking about Ernie Clement
No, we
before
weren't.
this season.
No,
but it's a nice exercise.
Jimenez and Straw didn't really do much for the Blue
Straw,
Jays.
they're both defensive stalwarts up the middle.
I hear
How
you,
do you
but-
win? Strong defensively up the
Right,
middle.
but if the Blue Jays
Like-
win the World Series, those guys are minor factors.
I
in
get
their
it,
winning,
but
yeah.
if look at who we were trotting out there.
No, I hear you.
We did
Well,
have a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying
errors.
is-
And what if we had Clase?
What I'm
How
saying
much-
is,
how much-
offensively, those guys wouldn't have mattered much for the Guardians.
I don't know.
I mean, obviously Naylor
Jimenez
would've.
has one of the highest OPSs in this World Series with
I hear
runners
you,
in
but
scoring
overall
position.
for the season, he's been pretty.
He was bad. He was
Yeah.
bad. But it's fun to talk about.
Yeah.
But part of that is we had a guy that most people considered one of the best closers in baseball.
That's right.
And that's a very pivotal
that
position
is a
for
very
postseason
fair-
runs.
Yeah.
And they took him away from us.
Yeah, that's right.
And so to your point, if it comes out that no harm, no foul, you can play again.
Yeah, that's a disgrace.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
baseball.
I
You
got
couldn't have gotten this more wrong. And now there's another theory. Baseball hates whenever a team fires a manager during October, particularly late October. They don't want anything taking the spotlight away from what they want the spotlight to be, the World Series. So there is a world where I can see a news conference the first week in November when they come out and announce their findings.
They should at this point. There's no reason they can't have a resolution.
But Bull, if they don't have it by now,
there's no excuse.
What are they going to, evidence-wise, what are they going to come up with?
It's taking so long.
So let me ask you this real quickly. If the DOJ got all these basketball dudes, and they working on gambling investigations, why would they not be working on baseball?
Oh no, it's my belief that they are.
I
think there's I don't think there's a world where the Major League Baseball didn't go. It could have gone one of two ways. The FBI never talks about ongoing investigations. It could have gone one of two ways. Someone with the FBI was tipped off by one of the books and said, wow, we've got red flags all over two of your guys. I mean, it's not just a little bit, it's a lot. You need to look at this. Baseball has to cooperate with that. They have to. So baseball then says, let's see what you have. And they maybe showed them, we had 75 irregular bets placed and paid when these two pitchers were on the mound. Okay, that's I'm just making that up.
Yeah.
It was enough for baseball to say, whoa, okay, we're going to pull those guys off the field and we're going to start our own investigation.
So let me ask you this.
But I have every belief that the DOJ and the FBI are very much involved in this.
If they don't have any text messages, if they don't have no phone records, and the people who place the bets are steadfast, and they say, I placed a bet, it was on me, and they have no correspondence with these people, how are they going to?
Well, we don't know that they don't have those things.
We don't know that they don't, but I feel comfortable that they don't because the first thing that would have happened was Clase would have surrendered his phone day one. Once they get that phone, if there's any communications, you can wipe a phone. They can still get in and find stuff.
Yeah.
So it's my guess is that when they started digging, they probably didn't find everything they thought they were going to find. I'm a big Dateline fan. Okay, I love murder mysteries. I watch these shows and I see all the time that you've made the opinion that, the husband did it.
Yeah.
But there's no weapon.
No.
There's no body.
No print.
She just disappeared. Now, maybe she wrote in her diary, if I ever come up missing, it's him.
Yep.
And her best friend said, well, it's really weird, but I saw him leaving in a Jeep at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've never seen that before.
And more importantly, Jay, the cell phone tower data has him pinged 3 miles away.
But see, now that's physical evidence, okay? The circumstantial evidence is all of the stuff that she wrote in her diary, if I ever come up missing. The best friend saw him leaving at 3. All of that could be answered away. We as rational human beings can watch that and say, my God, come on, of course he did it.
It was a husband.
But can you put him in prison for the rest of his life? Because there could be a scenario where he didn't. You don't even know she's dead. You don't even know there's a crime that's been committed. So a prosecutor will tell you the most difficult crimes, murders to prosecute, are bodiless and weaponless crimes. So in this case with Clase, I'm guessing they have already been through all the electronic devices. If there was evidence, they would have known that early on, and we would have heard. Baseball wouldn't have mind giving us that at the All-Star break. They don't want to pour it on us in October because it takes the spotlight off the World Series. But if we don't hear something, you're right, Bull, we're going into the free agent season. Do the Guardians need another closer? Do we need another starter? I don't know. You punished us all of last year by taking these guys off the field. At the end of the day, you might be right. And I think as a rational human being, they did it. I think that.
Right, yeah.
But can I end their careers?
No, not if you're not sure.
And sleep at night? Because there could be a scenario where I don't know that this happened.
You got to be able to prove it.
I have heard that the defense that they're using is a cartel got to both or one of the players and threatened bodily harm and death to family members if they didn't do what they had asked. Okay, is that forgivable then? If someone comes to you, Bull, and they say, Bull, I just placed a bet on a prop that sometime during the show today you're going to say strawberry wine. And if you don't do it,
Yeah.
I'm coming for your family.
Yeah, of course.
No,
I know what I'm going to hear out of your mouth during that show.
Yeah.
Hey, I love strawberry wine on a. Okay, so no harm, no
That's
foul.
such a thing, by the way. Is
Strawberry
wine is a thing?
Sure, absolutely.
I know nothing about alcohol.
Yeah, it's delicious.